Although Muzan has died, he created an existence even more terrifying. Demon King Tanjiro. At the moment of his impending death, Muzan injected all his blood and cells entirely into Tanjiro's body. Though he himself was about to die, his will to pursue eternity still had an heir. Although Tanjiro no longer had breath or a heartbeat, the cells in his body were not yet completely dead. In Muzan's eyes there was still time. I have injected all my blood and power entirely into your body. If you don't die immediately and survive, at that moment, Tanjiro, you will become the strongest demon king, surpassing the sunlight. After all, you are the biological brother with the same blood flowing through your veins as Nezuko. Moreover, you are the only human in this world who can use the sun-breathing technique. Just like that monster, I am certain you absolutely will not die. You will surely fulfill the wish if pursued for 1,000 years. In truth, the shadow of death at every moment in every place clung to Muzan. When he was still in his mother's womb, Muzan's heart stopped beating several times. When he was born, Muzan had no pulse, nor a heartbeat, to the point that the midwife thought he was still. At the moment he was about to be cremated, Muzan struggled to let out his first cry. And so Muzan stubbornly strove toward his soul wish and turned it into reality through tangible actions. However, what a single individual can achieve is after all limited. Yoriichi, I now have no choice but to admit what you said before was correct. Any living being will eventually die. Only the will can remain eternal and indestructible. Just as you said, for those humans who died by my hand, I have no recollection whatsoever. For them, the death of the body is the end. But what is the truth? The will passed down through generations seems to be eternal, like an inextinguishable flame. Even someone as powerful as me was ultimately defeated by it. Muzan was shaken by the truth before him, trembling tears streaming down. But fortunately, his will to pursue eternity still had an heir. At this moment, Tanjiro had no pulse, no breath. But suddenly he opened his eyes, and the arm that had been lost was instantly restored as it was before, then swung toward the comrade standing beside him. Fortunately, Ju acted in time to save that person. Ju saved that member with clarity. Had he hesitated even slightly just now, that member would have died at Tanjiro's hand. The arm restored as it was, and Tanjiro's ferocious expression at this moment, moreover his body exposed to sunlight, was gradually disintegrating. Though unbelievable, Ju immediately understood that Tanjiro had turned into a demon, and promptly ordered all members still able to move to immediately take up weapons. Kill Tanjiro. Tanjiro has become a demon. Before Tanjiro can harm anyone, pin him under the sunlight to destroy him. When Tanjiro tried to escape to the shadows, Ju immediately pinned Tanjiro down, pleading, "Please just vanish like this." But then Ju was shocked to discover the burns caused by the sunlight had stopped. Having overcome the sunlight, Tanjiro immediately attacked Ju. Witnessing all this, Inosuke was furious, shouting at Tanjiro, "What are you doing, you fool? These are your comrades, your own people." But when Inosuke saw Tanjiro's ferocious expression, glaring fiercely at him, Inosuke froze in place for a moment. The three of them had once made a vow that no matter who strayed down the wrong path in the future, the other two would do everything to stop them. No matter how painful or difficult, they would live upright and just. Inosuke knew he had to swing his blade to stop him. Tanjiro, who was once so gentle and kind, even though Tanjiro had now become a demon, even though Tanjiro's claws were attacking him, Inosuke still couldn't bring himself to strike. This is absolutely one of the most iconic scenes in Demon Slayer. Facing Tanjiro on the verge of regaining his humanity, Muzan begged Tanjiro not to leave. "I beg you, Tanjiro, don't abandon me. In this world, only you can do it. Don't you understand? You are the one chosen by the gods. Only you can become the ultimate perfect being." Just moments ago, Kanao narrowly avoided Tanjiro's attack and approached him. She would inject the medicine to turn a demon back into a human, into Tanjiro's body. And Tanjiro, who had never given up, under the influence of the medicine, once again heard voices from the outside. It was Nezuko's voice. Brother, let's go home together. Well, go home together. Hearing his sister's call, Tanjiro desperately wanted to return, but he was truly exhausted now. Tanjiro prayed to the gods, hoping they would let him and Nezuko return to their hometown, but then Muzan appeared before Tanjiro. Even if you return, what then? Your family is already dead. Even if you go back to that house full of charred corpses, what can you do? However, that place held Tanjiro's happy memories. As long as he and Nezuko were still here, those memories would never vanish. So he had to return. However, Muzan mercilessly shattered Tanjiro's illusions, abandoned those meaningless thoughts. Nezuko is already dead, and you killed her with your own hands. You must have smelled it too. The scent of your comrade's blood. All of that is your doing. They all hate you. No one wants you to return. But Tanjiro still wanted to go back, to apologize to those he had hurt. Though Muzan told Tanjiro that even apologizing would not earn forgiveness, Tanjiro knew clearly that Muzan was lying. Through their sense he could tell. Everyone was worried about him. But seeing Tanjiro's optimistic attitude, Muzan grew furious. Be quiet. You must inherit my will. I won't allow you to be optimistic. I won't allow you to trust others. And I certainly won't allow you to hold hope. Don't forget, unless you become a demon, you must bear the cost of the demon slayer mark manifesting. In just a few years, you will undoubtedly die. You must act completely selfishly. Seize the infinite life before you. But Tanjiro chose the path of Gilme. To be born as a human, and to die as a human is our pride. I have no interest in an infinite life. I want to return to those I care about. But Muzan's next words completely shattered Tanjiro's resolve to return. So many people have already died, and you still have the nerve to live on alone. At that moment, Tanjiro admitted that Muzan's words were true. He truly had no right to return. However, the hands of his comrades lifted Tanjiro up. Though Muzan told Tanjiro, those hands were all your illusions. Tanjiro smelled the scent of shinobu, the fragrance of wisteria flowers. Hands extending from wisteria flowers were welcoming Tanjiro back. At the same time, Nezuko's voice came from within. Brother, let's go home together. Facing Tanjiro about to leave, Muzan grew anxious. Don't go to that side. Tanjiro, let go and come back to me. You have overcome the sunlight. You are the rarest, strongest being. Don't you hear the resentful cries of the dead? They're all shouting. Why is it only you who gets to live? Why, when we lost everything, are you the only one who can escape? But Tanjiro knew everything Muzan said was a lie, because he understood clearly what kind of people the Demon Slayer Corps were. They were all willing to sacrifice their lives for others. They all hoped that others in the future would not have to endure the suffering they had, or the sorrow. However, facing Tanjiro gradually slipping away, Muzan cast aside all his dignity. Wait, Tanjiro, I beg you, inherit my will and become the Demon King. In this world, only you can do it. Don't you understand? You are the one chosen by the gods. Only you can become the ultimate perfect being. Yet the concern and encouragement from his comrades made Tanjiro's resolve to return unwavering. Come back, Tanjiro. Don't lose to him. Under everyone's urging, Tanjiro finally broke free from Muzan's grasp. After becoming the strongest Demon King for a moment, he returned to being human. And in that world, only Muzan's mournful cry remained. Don't go, Tanjiro. Don't leave me alone. In the real world, the Demon Slayer Corps gathered around Tanjiro. When Tanjiro awoke at that moment, everyone cheered. He's back. Tanjiro has returned to being human. Inosuke said to Tanjiro, the little scratches you caused don't even count. However, Zenitsu went to Nezuko. You owe me a lifetime of making up for this. Kano, lying nearby, joyfully watched Tanjiro return to being human, while Genya, hiding in the shadows, held Tamayo's keepsake alone. Though the battle had reached its end, he had forever lost the beloved Lady Tamayo. This is absolutely one of the most iconic scenes in Demon Slayer. Facing Tanjiro about to leave, Muzan wept, begging Tanjiro not to go. You are the one chosen by the gods. Only you can become the ultimate perfect being. Before that, Kanao had successfully injected the final dose of the medicine to turn a demon back into a human, into Tanjiro's body, and Tanjiro, still holding on to his will, engaged in a final struggle with Muzan. Nezuko's brother truly wanted to go home, but he was so exhausted. God, I beg you, please let me go home. I just want to return home with my sister. Please grant my wish. At this moment, Muzan appeared before Tanjiro. Even if you return, what then? Your family is long dead. Even if you go back to that house full of charred corpses, what can you do? We still have those happy memories. As long as Nezuko and I are here, those memories will never vanish. So I must return and go back to the hometown that raised us with Nezuko. Abandon those foolish thoughts. Nezuko is already dead, and you killed her with your own hands. You must have smelled it. The scent of your comrade's blood. All of that is your doing. They all hate you. No one wants you to return. But Tanjiro still wanted to go back. He wanted to apologize to the comrades he had hurt. Even if you apologize, you won't be forgiven. Muzan, it's not for you to decide such things through their sense. I know everyone is worried about me. Shut up, Tanjiro. You must stay and inherit my will. I won't allow you to be optimistic. I won't allow you to trust others. And I certainly won't allow you to hold hope. Don't forget the price of the Demon Slayer mark manifesting. Unless you become a demon, in a few years you will surely die. You must act completely selfishly. Seize the infinite life before you. But Tanjiro refused. Even if I die, I will die as a human. I have no interest in an infinite life. I just want to return to my family. But so many have already died. Do you really have the nerve to live on alone? To live such a pathetic life? Are you truly so shameless to keep living? Muzan's words successfully made Tanjiro lose his pursuit of life. But at that moment, the hands of his fallen comrades lifted Tanjiro's body, and Tanjiro smelled the scent of wisteria flowers. Before this, the medicine Kanao injected into Tanjiro's body finally began to take effect. Brother, let's go home together. Facing Tanjiro about to leave, Muzan could no longer hide his anxiety. Let go. Come back to me. You have overcome the sunlight. Don't go to that side. Tanjiro, you are the rarest, strongest being in the world. Don't you hear the resentful cries of the dead? They're all shouting. Why is it only you who gets to live? Why, when we lost everything, are you the only one who can escape? You're lying, because I know. They are all people who willingly sacrificed their lives for others. They all hoped that others in the future would not have to endure the pain they experienced, or the sorrow. Facing Tanjiro gradually slipping away, Muzan grew desperate. Wait, Tanjiro, I beg you, inherit my will and become the Demon King. In this world, only you can do it. Don't you understand? You are the one chosen by the gods. Only you can become the ultimate perfect being. But Tanjiro's departure did not slow in the slightest. Come back, Tanjiro. Don't lose to him. Let's go home together. Surrounded by everyone, Tanjiro, in a coma, finally awoke again. Though so many were lost, the 1,000-year grudge between the Demon Slayer Corps and Muzan finally came to an end in this era. At the same time, the final pillar meeting took place. Many children lost their lives in the final battle. Now, of the 9 pillars, only 2 of you remain. Facing the 2 remaining pillars, Kiryu declared that from today, the Demon Slayer Corps is officially disbanded. Are you Buyashiki family? To all of you over these long years, who risked your lives fighting demons for the sake of the world, we offer our sincerest gratitude for your dedication. Seeing this, Ju and Sanemi immediately spoke up. Please raise your head. You don't need to apologize to us. The Demon Slayer Corps has survived to this day, largely due to the Yubashiki family's contributions and Lord Kiryu's strategic command, leading us to defeat Muzan with heroic resolve. This will surely make the Yubashiki family, including Lord Yuriichi, feel proud. 3 months later, at the Butterfly Mansion, The wounds of the three young ones gathered together had largely healed. Before this, Tanjiro's arm restored when he became a demon had now become shriveled. He could no longer even clench his fist, only able to lift and lower his entire arm. Moreover, from the elbow down, he had completely lost sensation. His eyes had regained their shape, but had no vision. Compared to his own body, Tanjiro was more worried about Nezuko. The place where I bit you will surely leave a scar, and he sincerely apologized to everyone. Regarding this, Nezuko, somewhat displeased, said, "Brother, do you really think anyone cares about that? No more apologizing. But the fact that you could return to being human is truly wonderful." At that time, Mr. Ju, seeing me open my mouth to bite you, even thought it was all over. Who wouldn't think that? Even I thought several times that you might not come back. According to Mr. Yushiro, the reason I could recover was all thanks to Miss Shinobu's medicine, and the first time I bit you was a blessing in disguise. He said that since you had become a demon, after returning to being human, your body developed antibodies that could make you immune to Muzan's cells invading. According to Yushiro's speculation, without either Miss Shinobu's medicine or me, you might not have returned to being human, and at that time as a demon, you showed astonishing talent. In just a few seconds, you overcame the sunlight. It shows that your body compared to mine, and even compared to Muzan, was more suited to being a demon. Yet in the end, you still retained a bit of your own consciousness. That's truly incredible. This journey has been so hard for you. You were amazing, Tanjiro. No, it wasn't like that. I only survived thanks to everyone's help. Yushiro moved immediately changed his tone. I was just kidding. Don't take it seriously. Seeing your expression, you're clearly upset, so I'm leaving. When Yushiro left, Mr. Yushiro, please don't die. After all, in the end, the only one who still holds Miss Tamaya in their heart is you, Mr. Yushiro. Not long after, learning that Tanjiro was about to return home, Kyojuro visited Tanjiro the day before his departure. I heard you're going home tomorrow. Want to stop by our place first? Tanjiro was delighted by Tengen's invitation, but decided to visit after settling down. At the same time, Kyojuro, pulled by Sanjuro, came here. I heard you always carried Shinjiro's blade in battle. Thank you so much. That child, if he knew from the afterlife, would surely be very happy. No, it's nothing. Thanks to Mr. Shinjiro's encouragement at the start, I could fight until now. So I'm the one who should thank you. Meanwhile, Inosuke, hungry, quietly left the scene. To the kitchen, Inosuke stole food from the table, but unexpectedly before eating much he was caught. Why? Could he discover my tracks so quickly? Is he actually that formidable? Then, Aoi brought a plate before Inosuke. If you're hungry, eat this. From now on, this is your personal plate. You can eat from it anytime, so don't steal food anymore, got it? At the same time elsewhere, Tanjiro came before Kanao. Seeing Kanao again, Tanjiro only felt she was truly so gentle and worried about Kanao's injuries. My wounds no longer hurt. My eyes aren't completely blind either. Just earlier, Obane came by. He gave me the keepsake of the serpent pillar. At this moment, Nezuko, now awake, met Sanemi. Facing Nezuko's greeting, Sanemi felt a bit embarrassed, and Nezuko even took the initiative to ask about his injuries. Knowing her body was recovering well, Nezuko showed a joyful smile. This made Sanemi feel even more guilty and so sorry about before. I heard after defeating Muzan something else happened. As a pillar, I passed out and ended up being no help at all. Regarding this, Nezuko said it's nothing. Compared to me, it's really nothing. I was unconscious for 2 years before. Plus, I love sleeping. I love to sleep. When I sleep, I don't feel hungry. In Nezuko, Sanemi saw the shadow of his younger brother, placing his hand on Nezuko's head. This scene made Zenitsu, hiding in the shadows, furious. What's that guy doing? Not long after, Zenitsu and Inosuke followed Tanjiro back to their parents' hometown. With the help of many people, Nezuko and I both survived and returned, though many lost their lives. everyone ultimately united as one to fulfill our shared wish. No matter how terrifying the difficulties we face in the future, we can help each other and keep living. Because of everyone's sacrifices we have today, we will do our utmost to strive toward tomorrow. At that moment, their family appeared beside Tanjiro and Nezuko. Welcome back. And Tanjiro and Nezuko also felt their presence. In the years Tanjiro was away from home, thanks to Mr. Saburo and the townspeople, who regularly helped clean, the house remained very tidy. The tatami mats and eaves had been replaced, clearly not with cheap materials. Next time I must bring something to thank them. Inosuke on the side noticed the doorframe had many scratch marks, immediately warned everyone to be careful. These scratches even I have never seen before. No beast pillar. Those were from when my family and I measured our heights. To distinguish them we even wrote names. Learning this, Inosuke immediately said he wanted to measure too, and it'll definitely surpass everyone. Though Nezuko suggested measuring later, or it would get dark before they finished cleaning. Seeing this, Inosuke rolled on the ground. Now, we have to measure now. To appease Inosuke, everyone went along with him. As time passed quickly, it soon reached the modern era. The world was free of demons. The Demon Slayer Corps was disbanded. The Beast Pillar and Zenitsu followed Tanjiro back to his hometown. Let's see how their recent lives have been. Tanjiro narrated to introduce everyone. It's been a while, everyone. Today let's talk about our recent lives. We wake up before dawn, then go fetch water, and start preparing breakfast. Tanjiro and Inosuke go to the river to catch fish. Nezuko stays home to cook rice and vegetables. Zenitsu doesn't wake up. He seems to have leg pain every morning. Zenitsu managing to wake up on time in the morning happened after 3 days at Tanjiro's house. Though Zenitsu doesn't wake up on time every day, he's always the first at the breakfast table. For Zenitsu, Nezuko's cooking is tastier than any high-class cuisine. But Zenitsu after eating takes responsibility for washing the dishes, always staying on the edge of not being disliked. But after that decisive battle, everyone due to injuries had diminished physical strength. Even the swordsmen who pushed themselves were the same. It seems to let these swordsmen, who gave their all in the battle against Muzan, not be troubled by money. Tanjiro received from Kiryu an amount of money that made his eyes widen. If he refused, they'd send more. And the more he refused, the more they sent. As if knowing that awakening the Demon Slayer mark meant a short life, Tanjiro, with his weakened strength always, looked for something to do. He wanted to leave as much money as possible for Nezuko. However, when the town started using gas, people gradually stopped using charcoal. But many still supported Tanjiro's business. After the great battle ended, Master Tengen and comrades often came to visit. They always talked about topics that brought back nostalgia. Tanjiro also received a reply from Mr. Ju, and the tone of the letters began to change. Mr. Ju no longer blamed himself as before. A few days ago, Mr. Ju seemed to have gone to a hot spring with the Yurikodaki family. He seemed very happy, which is great. Though Tanjiro wrote to Sanemi, he never received a reply. Later, Tanjiro learned from a crow that Mr. Sanemi could read letters, but didn't know how to write. Tanjiro worried if his constant letters annoyed him, but Kiryu told Tanjiro Sanemi would surely be happy, and to please keep writing to him. Until one day when Tanjiro returned home, Nezuko told her brother she found a package in the hallway. Though Nezuko was home at the time, she didn't notice anyone coming. The package contained green tea and candy, and Tanjiro's keen sense of smell immediately detected the scent of Mr. Sanemi in the package. Kanao was now an excellent doctor for regular checkups. Tanjiro visited Kanao every month. If there was something she didn't understand, Kanao would write to Mr. Yushiro for advice. And since the replies always came surprisingly quickly, Kanao shared her guess with Tanjiro. Mr. Yushiro's residence was closer than they imagined. Nezuko also visited Kanao every few days to learn cooking. and when returning shed by soda, a local specialty. Among the four of them, the most energetic was Inosuke. Nezuko, who had been a demon, didn't feel strange but rather close to him. When Nezuko went out, he'd always follow. When at home, he lingered around Nezuko. But seeing this, Zenitsu's mood was always poor. If Nezuko and Inosuke laughed and chatted happily, Zenitsu would start complaining about leg pain. Then Nezuko would start massaging Zenitsu's legs. Such behavior in Tanjiro's eyes was a bit unlike Zenitsu's usual actions, and after Tanjiro pointed it out, Zenitsu began to sulk. Hiding in his imaginary world, he started writing a book, and Tanjiro, very reluctantly, was forced by Zenitsu to read his autobiography. Zenitsu emphasized it was based on reality. In this autobiography, Zenitsu became a famous figure, while Tanjiro, after falling into debt, abandoned Nezuko and ran away. Inosuke became a demon. Sanemi turned into a thief. Nezuko was a princess. The book's content was truly a chaotic mess. After Tanjiro finished reading, Zenitsu proudly asked Tanjiro to give a review. If it was written for fun, there's no problem, but it was simply hard to read. Just he and Nezuko took up 7 pages of description, but others had at most 2 lines of vague description, clearly doing nothing but becoming the protagonist just for being handsome. That was truly too bizarre. Moreover, Zenitsu's height exceeding 9 feet was indeed too exaggerated. Tanjiro's sharp critique left Zenitsu so embarrassed he didn't know where to hide. Zenitsu tearfully told Tanjiro enough. Stop talking. Seeing Zenitsu's disappointment, Tanjiro told him, if you like Nezuko, you have to become reliable. Just acting spoiled will gradually make you seen as a little brother, not a romantic interest. Hearing Tanjiro's words, Zenitsu reflected, and at that moment, Zenitsu felt Tanjiro was right. Nezuko was so gentle. Acting spoiled with her would get him cared for, but was being a little brother enough for Zenitsu? He could no longer fight as a swordsman. His handsomeness went unnoticed, so daily life had to change. Moreover, with Nezuko, if he didn't express his feelings clearly, she wouldn't notice. From the day after this talk, Zenitsu began waking up early properly and walking long distances. Even before and after rainy days, his legs might ache, but he no longer complained. After stopping, others worried if he had health issues. Nezuko anxiously asked Tanjiro, is Mr. Zenitsu dying? A few days later, Zenitsu took Nezuko out. After smelling Zenitsu's nervous scent, Tanjiro knew Zenitsu was likely about to confess. To keep Inosuke from disturbing them, Tanjiro took Inosuke elsewhere. But soon after, a sound loud enough to pierce eardrums came from afar. I love Nezuko the most. I want her to be my wife. From now on, I'll keep improving. So please give me your answer in a year. Even if I die, I'll protect Nezuko well. Tanjiro from a far side. That sound was just too loud. Inosuke eagerly looked into the distance. So they're getting married. But because Zenitsu's confession was truly too loud, that day until bedtime, Nezuko still couldn't hear clearly. These peaceful, ordinary days were truly precious. Even if one day I leave, I want everyone to have peaceful days ahead. A few days later, Zenitsu showed Tanjiro his autobiography again. In the book, Tanjiro became Zenitsu's disciple, helping Tanjiro pay off his debts. But somehow Inosuke became a subordinate. Whether Zenitsu and Nezuko could marry, we'll find out in a year. That's all, Tanjiro concluded. When everyone realized that moment, until the 1,000-year sunlight finally rose, looking at the rising sun, Muzan showed an expression of disbelief. I was dragged by these weaklings to the moment of sunrise. With his life threatened, Muzan launched his final counterattack. The swordsmen around Muzan were all blown away. Tanjiro, though missing an arm, still gripped his Nichiren blade tightly, even wanting with one hand to make the Nichiren blade turn red again, but already exhausted and missing an arm. His grip strength now was nowhere near enough to make the Nichiren blade red. At that moment, a hand grasped Tanjiro's Nichiren blade. It was Ju, also missing an arm. Both had reached their limits. but erupted with astonishing strength, successfully making the Nichiren blade turn red again. The red Nichiren blade burned Muzan's body, and the sun was slowly rising. Where the sunlight touched it kept disintegrating. In such a critical situation, if he merely shrank his size, he'd likely turn to ash instantly. So Muzan immediately deployed a flesh armor to protect his true form. But Tanjiro, closest to him, was carelessly swallowed by the expanding flesh armor. In a critical state, his body continuously disintegrating, Muzan sought a shaded spot to avoid the sunlight. The Demon Slayer Corps members immediately realized Muzan's intent, using every possible method to block Muzan's steps. Everyone knew, after the night-long battle, the gravely injured pillars had no strength left to fight. No matter what happened, they couldn't retreat. They had been protected by them more than once. Now it was their turn to stand before them, not retreating even half a step. Even if it meant death, they had to stop him. As long as everyone worked together, nothing was frightening. At this moment, Michiro, having recovered from his wounds, returned to the battlefield. But his heavily injured body and utterly exhausted stamina could only unleash one full-force attack before collapsing again. Meanwhile, Gyomi used chains to bind Muzan's body. After hundreds of years, they finally had another chance to kill Muzan. They absolutely couldn't let him escape. Muzan, tightly bound by chains, couldn't escape directly, so he planned to burrow underground to avoid the sunlight. Ju immediately unleashed techniques to stop him, but with one arm the power was too weak. The Wind Pillar and Serpent Pillar also launched attacks at this moment, but they couldn't stop Muzan's steps. The chains binding Muzan were forcefully broken. This was already the limit of what the Demon Slayer Corps could do. They were so close to defeating Muzan, but could only watch him escape right before their eyes. At that very moment, Tanjiro, trapped in the flesh armor, exerted himself again, determined even with one hand to make the Nichiren blade turn red. The red Nichiren blade burned Muzan's body, not only halting Muzan's escape, but fully exposing him to the sunlight. As the sun fully rose, Muzan finally turned to ash under the sunlight. Though Muzan had died, he created an even more terrifying existence. Demon King Tanjiro. At the moment of his impending death, Muzan injected all his blood entirely into Tanjiro's body. Though Tanjiro no longer had breath or a heartbeat, the cells in his body were not yet completely dead. In Muzan's eyes, there was still time. Injecting all his blood and power into Tanjiro's body. If Tanjiro didn't die from the invasion of Muzan's blood and survived, then you would become the strongest demon king, surpassing the sunlight. After all, you are Nezuko's biological brother. The same blood flows through your veins. Moreover, you are the only human in the world who can use the sun-breathing technique like that monster. Until this moment, Muzan had to admit what Yuriichi once said. Any living being will die. Only the will is eternal and indestructible. Though I will turn to ash under the sunlight, my will to pursue eternity still has an heir. In truth, Muzan's entire life was always shrouded by the shadow of death. When still in his mother's womb, Muzan's heart stopped several times. When born, Muzan had no pulse, nor a heartbeat, to the point the midwife thought he was stillborn, on the verge of being cremated. Muzan finally struggled to let out his first cry. Thus, in the years that followed, Muzan always pursued eternity. He stubbornly pressed toward his sole wish, and through tangible actions made it reality. But later he gradually realized what a single individual could achieve was limited. At the moment of impending death, Muzan admitted Yuriichi's words. Any living being will die. Only the will is eternal and indestructible. And the truth was, as you said, for the humans who died by my hand, I never had any impression. For them, the death of the body was the end. But what was the truth? The will passed down through generations was like an inextinguishable flame. Even someone as mighty as me was ultimately defeated by it. Muzan was shaken by the truth before, trembling tears streaming down, and his body would soon be destroyed by the sunlight. But Muzan believed his will, like that of you humans, was eternal and indestructible. He poured all his will into Tanjiro's body. Though he was about to die, his will to pursue eternity still had an heir. Muzan was certain Tanjiro would not die. He would surely inherit his wish and wipe out the demon hunters in his place. At the same time outside, the members gathered around Tanjiro were grieving for Tanjiro's death. However, soon after, Tanjiro, who had lost pulse and heartbeat, opened his eyes again, and the arm lost in the battle with Muzan was restored in an instant. And in Jia's disbelieving eyes, Tanjiro, with his regrown arm, swung at the member beside him. Fortunately, Ju reacted in time and saved the member nearly struck by Tanjiro. The member behind Tanjiro was somewhat incredulous. Tanjiro, once so gentle and kind, why would he attack his own comrades? However, soon after, they saw Tanjiro's ferocious and eerie expression, and burned by the sunlight, Tanjiro's body was collapsing. Witnessing all this, an unbelievable thought arose in their hearts. Tanjiro, revived, seemed to have become a demon. Ju, with his vast combat experience, reacted immediately. All who can still move, take up your weapons at once. Tanjiro has become a demon. Before he kills anyone, pin him under the sunlight to destroy him. After being burned by the sunlight, Tanjiro tried to flee to the shadows, but Ju immediately restrained Tanjiro and kept him under the sunlight. Ju knew clearly, if he had hesitated even slightly earlier, that member would have died at Tanjiro's hand. He was the hero who defeated Muzan, so Ju hoped Tanjiro would pass away under the sunlight. But Ju was shocked to discover the burning from the sunlight lasted only a moment before stopping. Tanjiro, breaking free from the sunlight's restraint, immediately attacked Ju, who was holding him, and from afar, Inosuke, witnessing everything, as Tanjiro attacked again, stepped in to stop him. Tanjiro, what are you doing, you fool? Look clearly, these are your comrades, your own people. However, when Tanjiro glared ferociously at everyone, Inosuke and Zenitsu froze in place. Everyone was covered in wounds, with no strength left to fight. And you've become like this. What will your sister Nezuko do? Tanjiro, having lost his reason, mercilessly attacked his former comrades. But the three of them, though not bound by blood, were like true brothers. They had once vowed that no matter who veered down the wrong path, the other two would do everything to stop them. But facing Tanjiro, Inosuke's Nichiren blade could not be brought down. Even facing Tanjiro, now a demon, Inosuke's attack still couldn't land. Come back! Return to the gentle, kind Tanjiro.